4275.
Oh, okay.
So this is the main web on the iPad.
Somebody on a speakerphone? They sound...
No, I got HD with me in the same room, so
okay.
I might be switching rooms. I think that's best.
Okay, so we tried to fix... Yeah, no D goes unpunished, huh? So let me guess, this worked fine on the tablet, but if you tried to access with the web, it threw an error? Is that basically what we're saying?
HD?
I was testing on the main web, not on the tablet. It's just user agent checking, which does the tablet, which changes to tablet version or main web version.
Okay. But I guess what I'm curious about is why did we not pick up the error when we were testing it? Why did we not realize we had a problem till after it was deployed?
Not sure about that. Maybe some caching. Not sure.
Okay. Well, the last time this happened, I guess I was looking at an automated test, but then I got distracted, so... I guess we can pick up that ball again at some point. Okay, well, does anybody have any suggestions about how to avoid this?
I have one. It's not about avoiding completely, but about preventing from escalating on a higher level. Because right now, I missed that email, or we missed that email. But if we would get, an SMS, for example, or a call that there are too many exceptions, we would probably fix it sooner.
Okay. Yes. All right. So we want to add an SMS alert to that. I don't get those emails, I don't think, do I?
No, you don't get them.
Okay. So let's create a fog buzz for that. Chabi, you want to do that?
Yes, sure.
And so two things. We want to have an SMS alert. And and we need an ability to more easily manage who gets these things.
Can't we do some kind of unit testing for the more used pages for which are more important to work? So, for example, if the unit testing fails, then something's wrong.
Sure, except that's something you guys got to do, right? You have to design the unit tests when you design the pages.
Right. That's not. I wouldn't say that's not an option, but that's not an easy option.
It's not a quick option, anyway.
It's not a quick option.
I know a company where one of my relatives works, and he just writes unit tests all day long.
Living the dream.
testing those units.
Yeah. Live in the truck.
I guess there are two other developers just unit testing.
Okay, so let's. What I'm suggesting is, or rather, what I'm asking, what I'm suggesting is that we should. I don't know if it's. I think, as I said here, I see two problems here. One, we could have avoided this issue by trying the. If this involves, for instance, this involved the tablet view of the main web and the desktop view of the main web. If we tried both versions, then we could have probably avoided this issue. That's one thing before we deploy. And then the second thing is we get those exception emails, and as Chubby said, we got only one exception email, but that doesn't really help us because for me, that's noise. What helped in this case is that support email from the CV guy, and I just went real quick through it. I happened to be in the front of the computer, and I saw that it's urgent, everybody's down, and then I asked Chubby about it. So that's how we actually figured it out, that there's a problem. So if we get 300 exceptions, 300 of the same exception, I think that's a huge pointer that it's a big problem. And I think in that case, an SMS or something would really help.
Okay. It was actually 199, right? I was looking at the log. That's what I see.
Right.
Okay.
Probably wasn't 300 in any case, but it was a lot.
I'm going to throw this out there as an idea, and y'all can shoot it down if it's a bad idea. But what about if when we do a deploy, you know, unless it's an emergency kind of thing and we're trying to fix something, what if we require two people to be online or two people to be watching when we do the deploy? So ISTI would contact Zoli or Chabi or whatever, say, hey, I'm getting ready to do a deploy. Can you help me quickly do some tests to verify that the deploy went well? So one person would do the deploy, the other one would kind of be responsible for short-term QA or something. Keep each other honest.
I like the idea. And I'm saying this because it's kind of basically it's when you do a change, but this requires, so we could label certain deploys as quick fixes, but and in that case, I think one thing that could happen is that, okay, we label almost everything as a quick fix, and we say, okay, we don't call Chabi, and let's just do a deploy. Nobody will know. But if somebody just asks if you tell somebody about what you actually did, then that might help to figure possible pitfalls. So yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Do we do multiple deploys in a day?
Yes.
Yeah.
Usually?
Yes. I would say.
Most days? Would it make sense to batch them? And that way we just make it part of the procedure, so at 5 a.m. or something, that's when you guys are going to update prod.
I think we can batch features, and quick fixes should be deployed ASAP.
But quick fixes you're normally only doing later in the day, right? Because you're only doing a quick fix if we discover something's broken, which typically isn't going to happen until late in your afternoon. Isn't that, or am I oversimplifying that?
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
Mostly, but I wouldn't say necessarily, or I don't know.
I guess the problem, Zoli, is how do we differentiate between a quick fix and a deploy?
At this point, we don't do any differentiations, but we should. I mean,
okay.
In the commit message level, I think we should use a tag or something.
Right, but
Yeah,
what's to prevent someone from just labeling everything a quick fix?
Right.
Why we want to do that? I mean, I don't see reason to do that. I mean,
you don't see a reason to label everything a quick fix?
Yes. If I know that I'm working on a feature, right? Why should I do that? I mean, let's be honest. I mean.
Okay, so what I think the one missing piece here, maybe I'm seeing this the wrong way, but I think what would help, and I think what we actually need to do this, we would need to do branching for the features. And in that case, you could switch the branches. You could say deploy this branch, deploy that branch, deploy, because if you develop a feature, if you work on a feature and you want to deploy that the next day at 5 a.m., for instance, but you also have a fix on the line, how can you, if you work on one branch, you can deploy just the fix and then deploy the the only way to do that is to shove it, I guess.
I do this by having multiple copies. I have a master repository, and I have a copy of a clone of the repository. And whenever I need to do a quick fix, I just do it on the clone.
Yeah, and the problem is that we have multiple branches, like the fleet modem branch, and we have the tablet branch. So this means at this point on my hard drive, I have 6 folders. So I have the latest folder for every branch, and I have a branch where I have a folder where I commit safely the changes for features or the things I'm working on long term. So if we do implement this branching, I think this will complicate a lot. I mean, especially on our side, on the branching level and on the Mercurial server, you won't see anything complicated. But on our part, it's kind of huge. And the merging at this point, it's not that easy to do. So if I'm working on a feature and Chubby is working on a feature and Ishti is working on a feature, and we want to batch these features and want to deploy, we all have to do the merging, and we have to be extremely careful to do those. And after the merge, we still have to test those changes on local. Right. I mean, this is how it should supposed to work.
And you know what the problem is? The problem is that what you just described is branching, is manual branching, is that you are managing the branches manually, and that's work. What I'm suggesting is that let the Mercurial manage the branching, and we can switch between the branches easily. So that's easy to do. So you would have only one copy, and okay, so let's say that Ishti is working on menu fixes or memorize Edit View, iPad menu fixes, whatever. That's a different branch. And then we had the live branch or the master branch, which would only get quick fixes or patches that we deploy right away. We don't need to ask for any approval. And then we have the feature branches that we need to test, that we need to do a pair testing. And after we did the pair testing, then we merge it into the master branch, and then we deploy it. And when you do a new feature, when you work on a new feature, you just create a new branch. And then on your local, you can easily switch between the branches, so that's no problem. But what you just said is that you're kind of doing branching, but on the manual, on your local, and you do it manually, which is a lot of extra work. So I'm saying this because we just switched like 2 months ago to do branching, feature branching on MobiScroll, and it helps a lot. And I actually sent you guys an email about a client that we're using from Atlassian, and that also works with Kiln. That integrates with and branching and switching between the branches is easy. So I think if we want to do something like, okay, we do batch deploys. What is a batch deploy? A batch deploy is merging, let's say, 3 feature branches into the master branch, testing that, and then deploying it to production. Testing that and deploying it to production. What is a patch deploy? Is pushing it into the master repo or master branch and just deploying that. Otherwise, you would have to manually do the, manage the branches on your local. Is everything with me on the same page? Or
I see what you're saying.
How does the merging work when you merge the feature branches into
it works the same way as you would merge your local branch into the main branch, because what happens is actually Mercurial and also Git, they do branch, they always do branching. So if you do a push, then it's a new branch. It always does it always does branches. So actually, when you see on the left-hand side, with the HG Mercurial, that's the client that you're using. So there's that little tree, and what jumps out, that's a different branch. So that's when you push it, and when you actually before you actually merge that. You have to actually merge that to the main, and then you see it go back.
Okay, so let's suppose that we are using branching. I'm just trying to understand how this feature branching works. Say the 2 of us are working on a new feature and we want to deploy on the same day. We would deploy at 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't.
Well, hopefully before 5 anyway, but yeah. But when do they first start working, Chuck? 6?
Well, this morning, let's see, we got our first. I would say by 5:30 they're working.
Okay, so yeah, so we'd probably want to do it before 5.
So usually come online at 3 and 4 a.m.
Yeah, what I'm saying is the supervisors, but the Rock works 24 hours. So, these guys are, if they've got a emergency ticket, they're working on the website then. But probably if we could get things done, before 5, that would be okay.
Okay, so
we gotta have some time to do it, right?
Okay, so we would finish our new case feature, right? But we don't want to push that, because if we have a fix that we want to deploy, then we would also deploy the features, right?
Well, exactly. So that's the problem now.
Well, I don't think the problem is doing the multiple deployments. The problem is that no one's watching to make sure things are still working, right? And so my thinking is that if we batched stuff, then more of you would be available. If you knew that, okay, well, at 5 a.m. we're going to do this, and I've got a feature I want to deploy, and Chabi's got a feature he wants to deploy, and Isti's got a feature he wants to deploy, then all three would be available at that point to monitor the deployment and make sure everything was still working.
The only problem is that if there is a problem, how do you figure out which one caused it?
Well, you can usually tell from the exceptions.
Right.
But the thing is, you gotta watch the exceptions.
You gotta be watching. Yeah.
That was the.
But I think that maybe the number one thing is that when you do a deploy, you start watching for exceptions. You just.
Oh yeah, you just. What does watching for exceptions mean? You can't stay on the exception log. You might check in, but you pay attention to the exception. Right. But actually, I don't think that's a good long-term idea, because you might be watching the first couple of days and you might say, okay, so let's do this. Let's not get any or fix the exceptions or whatever. But then it just goes away. It's just noise what you get. But you're not always watching your email. Chuck, you might be, because you live in the email, but usually if you work on something that you're not watching the email.
The email is too much of a distraction, and that's why I think the SMS makes sense. But you're right, we have to tune the SMS so that the alarms only come across when there's a real problem.
Yeah, because if not, it will become noise.
Right. But I guess what I was looking for a more human solution to this, right? Because if Isti deployed this fix at 5 a.m. or whatever, and if Isti had been working with Chabi and said, hey Chabi, I'm deploying this fix, can you help me monitor what's going on? It would just sort of build in another level of accountability. So Isti would deploy the fix, and hopefully Chabi would try a few things on the web to just verify everything looked okay. And ideally, he would have seen the error and would have said, I think we broke something. We need to roll this back and figure out what's going on. I guess that's what I was
aiming for.
Hoping to achieve, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yeah, I like the idea. And I also like the idea of batch deploys. So feature deploys shouldn't be all over the place. If we can batch them, then let's do that. Go ahead.
Well, I don't have any problem with the feature deploys per se. It's just the idea that if we're going to ask people to monitor and make sure things are still working, then we probably want to time it, right? Because if we're deploying features, throughout y'all's day, and you've got to ask somebody to stop what they're doing and to help you out.
So, yeah,
that's not very efficient. But if you knew you were going to do it at 5 a.m., you could kind of structure your day like that.
Right. So yeah, batch it.
Right. 5 a.m. is what, 2 p? No, it's noon your time.
Well, it's noon, yeah.
It's 10. It's
noon.
Noon. Okay. 12.
Okay, so
and we wouldn't deploy features during the day.
Normally, no.
Normally, no.
Quick fixes if there are any.
You deploy them at noon, and hopefully with
somebody watching.
Somebody watching. It's kind of like almost a mini code review or something, right?
Right.
This is what I'm doing.
Okay.
Okay, so in order to do that, I'm almost sure that we need to figure out the branching, because we can't do that manually. At least we can't do that painlessly manually. So in order to get
Can we discuss that after the meeting? Just right now I find hard. I think it would be easier in Hungarian.
Yeah, but I mean, what you forgot is that we have a developer which is working on the US,
Okay,
Right.
and which is Harrison, so he needs to know how these things are working.
Well, that's okay. Y'all could work it out in Hungarian and then come back and tell Harrison how to do it. Harrison's probably won't have much to contribute into the procedure, so if y'all want to figure that out first, that would be okay. So okay, so let's table this, and you guys can discuss this. I guess after the meeting.
We can hug it up.
All right. See, when do you leave for the U.S., Levy?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, okay. I guess that's right. It starts Sunday night, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. On the alerting, one thing that I thought, I'm not sure I ever wrote this up, but I was thinking what would be nice is to get sort of a generic alerting going, and what I was thinking was essentially we would create the alarms in SQL, some sort of SQL proc that maybe get called by Heartbeat or SQL agent or whatever, and then and so that would give us a lot of flexibility. We wouldn't have to write .NET code for every new type of alarm, and then in .NET we'd have the code that actually detected the alarm, detected the output from T-SQL, and then sent it out to some sort of managed list. So if we felt like the alarm was too sensitive or whatever, we could modify it in SQL, or at least I could modify it in SQL, and kind of maintain it that way. Am I making any sense?
So you would make the alarm in SQL, like querying the table and checking if there are
right. Because right now the way we're doing alarms, as I understand it, is we have to create a page, we have to create a form in .NET, and so this would be a more generic alarm page, so that if I wanted to create a new kind of alarm, I could do that. So for example, if I wanted to create an alarm that recognized that I wasn't getting any Verizon fixes on Bobby Fleet or whatever, I could write a T-SQL proc to do that, and then I guess ideally I'd be able to do all this from SQL, right? And then be able to
output something.
Right, and specify to whom, and whether it was SMS or email or whatever. Just give us a framework, if you will, to quickly nail up these alerts.
Okay, these alerts, we have some HTML formatting on these alerts. We have a table, for instance, which is one reason that we have an email page for every alert.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess we can.
Well, could we create like a generic email page where the text is inserted in from a table somewhere?
Mm-hmm. I guess that
we could do similar with SMS, right? We could have a generic SMS message, but insert in the actual alarm text.
Yes, we can do that.
Have you created this FB yet?
I haven't committed, but yes. You want me to add that to the list?
Yeah.
That's a new case, I guess.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It could be the same case.
Okay. This is.
I'm just trying to give us a tool where we can, quickly add another alert or edit an alert if we need to. I don't know. For you guys, maybe it's not a big deal creating a new page. For me, it's still a bit of a challenge. Although I did order a book on Amazon that's supposed to make it all clear. I'll read it on the plane when I go visit Levy in Boston.
So when you arrive, or when your plane is landed, you won't be needing us anymore, right?
Yeah, right.
You're halfway there with the book. That's why Amazon is good.
You committed yet, Levy?
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, not Levy. Chubby, have you committed it yet?
Okay.
What's the FB?
4353.
Okay. Okay. Let's launch in, I guess. Zoli, you want to bring us up to date on what you've been doing?
Before I start, I actually started thinking about these deployment stuff, and actually the problem about overlooking each other. So I don't know if somebody deploys a feature and the other one needs to assist on that. Is that, I mean, the problem with this thing is that we are working on I mean, I am working on a separate island, for instance, tablet, and Chubby works on a separate thing, and Ishti is actually between us. But if Chubby does a new feature, for instance, on work order scheduler or work order generator, the problem is I don't know a thing about that, about how that is working in the background. So if a problem raises, I cannot help him solve that. And if the only thing I can think of which can help is that if somebody wants to deploy something, then he can tell to one of the other guys that, okay, he deploys this new feature, and we can compile a list of things which needs to be checked. And I think that will also help. I mean, just spend 5 times on planning to test that new feature. And I think that would also help Ishti and would also help Chubby and me. So if I want to deploy something on tablet, maybe I'm thinking only on tablet, but maybe that thing is affecting something else. So Chubby and Ishti can help me figure that out, which other things needs to be. I think that would be more helpful to have.
Yeah, I think you're right. The accountability is clearly with the guy who made the changes. I know that, and again, it almost has more to do with accountability than technical expertise. I know when I'm working through a problem, sometimes I'll just call up Chuck and explain it to him. I have no idea whether Chuck understands with what I'm saying or not, but me talking through it is useful sometimes, because it basically helps remind me of what I'm doing. And Zola, you and I do this sometimes too, where I'll ask you questions, and the truth of the matter is I understand very little of the details of what you're doing, but sometimes I can ask questions that prompt you to consider things. So I guess I'm looking more at that than a formal code review or anything. It's more about accountability than any sort of formal review. Just keeping each other honest.
Mm-hmm.
Because I agree. You're right. There's nothing that Chabi could do, or very little Chabi could do, in the time he has available to improve your code. But if you know you're going to spend 5 minutes talking it to him, it might prompt you to make sure you got your ducks in a row. Does that idiom translate into Hungarian? I don't know.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Okay.
What do you think, Levi, about this?
Yeah, I agree. I think mentally he won't jump into tablet mode. Chubby won't jump into tablet mode in order to fully understand what you're saying, but he has kind of a slight idea of what you're doing. And I think one of the most valuable parts of this thing is that when you try to articulate the things so basically when you try to describe what you're doing, that can help you clarify things in your head.
They say that you understand something when you can explain it. Just
right.
Not enough that you say that okay, I got it, but
okay, but this conversation in practical will happen after you finished that feature. So you should be able to explain it, and you should be clear what needs to be happen on your code on that feature. So my plan is, to.
Okay, so let's can we do this? Can we do like what would we do? Like, okay, Ishti, explain. Let's do a practice. You explain to me what you're going to deploy, what you actually deployed earlier, but you're planning to deploy that. What you did, and let's do this live.
All right. So what I did, I checked the URL for this view setup ID.
Okay, so what case are we talking about?
It's 4275.
And you should be explaining the bigger plan, like I don't know what the user will see, what needs to be happen.
Yeah, you're right.
And that in this level.
Yes. So.
Okay, so 4275. Yeah, go ahead.
So I had to make the views somehow reachable from the tablet version of the main web.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to do this, I had to somehow create a menu for these views, and whenever a user selects one, then it will redirect the user to the asset type with that view. So whenever the user accesses this page, the URL, there's a regex where it gets the ID from the URL, and then it selects the views for that page. But the issue was with this that the ID was an empty string and couldn't change it to double to.
No. You're talking about the issue, but right now,
the case is about
right now at this point we don't have a one-on-one here. So you're saying that it's like we're role-playing what we will do at noon each time when we do a batch deploy, right? So this is part of the batch deploy, this 4275. This is your feature. This is what you worked on.
Yes.
Okay, so and then you describe it, and then I might ask something like, I know what I'm going to ask. I'm going to ask, okay, so if this is not visible, we actually had this conversation just 2 days ago. So, and I want to get into the picture. I just asked a couple of questions. If this is not, why isn't this visible? And then I realized that, okay, this is a specific menu that shows up on the tablet. But this is just like a conversation, and that's it. And what I would ask is, okay, make sure that this won't break anything in iPad view and then like desktop view, because you're working with the URLs and you're working with stuff like that that might just not be specific to the iPad. And that's just the conversation. And while you describe, while you're talking me through this or just talking about it, then hopefully it will, clarify it in your head, or not necessarily clarify it, but it will make you, as Cliff said, be honest about it. That you're gonna check it out.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if this helped or not, but it's. Actually, me personally, I didn't write that code with the drop downs. I know what it is about, and from looking at the screenshots, I can kind of paint a picture in my head how it's working. But these types of reviews or one-on-ones are about just keeping each other honest about it. That we're gonna follow through with testing it and
not missing any part of.
Right, we're still gonna miss parts, but that's
and if we do, we'll get an SMS message.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
Can we do something like a call instead of an SMS message? I mean,
I'm sorry. Do something like what?
Calculating like if there are 5 exceptions after like 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, then getting an SMS. But if there are like 20 or something exceptions, then getting a call. Just if the problem is escalating, then you would getting a call. It rings your phone, and it's more. It gives more. You give more attention than.
Oh, get a call? I guess. Yes. I mean, what would you do? You'd use
Twilio.
Twilio or something?
Yeah, ringing the phone. Sure, that works.
Because you could overlook an SMS also.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, yeah, my phone is on silent because it's near me, and if I just step out to the bathroom or something, then I might miss that SMS.
What are you suggesting? We should buy iWatches and
iWatches.
I
don't. I was actually looking at getting one of these for my iPhone for just this reason. Although, what phone do you have? Are you what operating system? I guess are you running on your phone?
Android.
Because Android. I think there's so that you can buy. They call them pager apps. So that if an SMS comes in from a particular address or has a particular thing in the header, it will alarm. It will override the silence and anything else. I'll let you know.
Pager.
Yeah, they call them pager apps. What was that? Was it outside or inside? Yeah.
Somebody crashed?
We heard a weird noise. Anyway.
The chipmunk from the tree.
That was a squeal. Anyway. A mechanical sounding squeal, like, I don't know. Dogs don't seem to care, so. Anyway. Okay.
No exception alert from
No
the dogs.
exception alert. Right, no exception alert.
Great job, no exception.
Okay.
Okay, Zoli.
All right. So my priority list is 3981. Okay, and the stuff I'm working on is 0. These are the stuff we discussed last week.
Okay.
And as you see, I'm at implementing this new way of using the working set on the old client, and the two things which are missing and I'm working on are those 2 points which are under point 4. So that's the stuff I'm working on.
Okay. Or do we have a workaround for it?
About to what?
The gestures.
It's what kind of gestures? It's about the working set. I mean, I'm working on the working set changes what we discussed yesterday.
Right.
It's 4340.
Okay. Okay. So in 43440, you're up to the point where we need a call to get the work order ID list from the client.
I'm still working on point 4, and under point 4 there are listed 2 things, and I'm working on those.
Okay. Don't create ticket entry and working short ID is changed. Why is that important? What if we do create a history entry when the working set ID is changed?
We can't. If that's what we want. But if what happens, the problem with this is that on the old client, there can be multiple working sets. I mean,
okay.
not technically, literally. So they can pull up different types of different types of tickets based on their filters.
Okay, so it's just to reduce noise, I guess, in the history.
Yes, that's correct. But on the new version, maybe we don't need. So on the tablet version, maybe we don't need that. But I'm working on the old version just now.
I got you.
And I think that point won't be migrated to the tablet version. I'm trying to work out first the old client because that is simple, and when that's done, I will be moving up to the tablet version and improve that version of what we have, what we had on the old.
Okay.
And besides this, last week I was just doing some little bug fixes which were escalated by the upload. Users are actually uploaded images, and one problem was that they choose weird files with file names which weren't be able to save on the server, on the hard drive. So what I've been doing is just to filter out all these invalid characters on file names. So those files should be able to save on the hard drive of the server. And the other one was about, we have this upload control on the node and also on Wi-Fi inventory, and we have a bug actually on both versions of the TT Mobile. So if you uploaded a file, so you started a ticket, you uploaded a file, then closed the ticket. If you started the next ticket, that on the upload control, the file you uploaded previously on the previous ticket got shown up, and that wasn't good. And also, that was sent back up to the server, and we actually got an exception about this because the code wasn't able to tie that file to the work order, and these two things got fixed this week.
Okay.
Was this in Beta CV or the MCV or both?
Both. They were on both.
Oh boy. Okay.
Why is this a problem?
Well, are you saying that the wrong file got attached to the next ticket that got uploaded?
No. It wasn't attached. It was just showing up on the client. But we didn't.
So
we cannot attach.
It appeared that it didn't get cleared.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But it was. And
yeah. I see. Okay.
Hey, Chuck, when we met last, we did some drawings for filtering based on working sets.
Yes. I assigned that to Zoli. Yes.
Okay.
Didn't get any notification of that.
Okay.
It's 4331. You added there. Oh, I see.
Yeah, my work filter, right? 4331. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. See that brilliant stuff down at the bottom?
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway, this was actually based on some input that you had, Zoli, that I think it was you.
Yeah, I know.
That we could simplify the filter significantly for my work. So we came up with some drawings of how we thought that could look.
It's not entirely clear how this should look on the UI, but I certainly understand what it needs to be done. How I understand how it's supposed to work. So if you check this my work,
right, it just it changes the way the filter block appears.
And that's it.
Right.
Okay.
So for my work, it will shrink, if possible. It'll shrink all that stuff down below, which is created in the maintenance types. If you go advanced, then it will open that up and give you access to it.
I see.
Okay, and then the other thing is that if you are, let's go back to the one where you've got my work set. If you say that you want to see work that is dispatched or in exception mode or in exception mode, which is these work order statuses, then the find by user will be enabled. Otherwise, it's disabled, so they can't confuse themselves trying to find by region and find by user pending work, which is believe it or not, a big problem. And we all kind of fall into that trap sometimes.
Okay, I see.
Okay.
And on the advanced option, under the attached image, we have these options like created, due, and completed. Does this mean that we only want to display these options on the drop-down?
Yes.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What we thought we'd do is, first of all, reorder them so that the ones that we want to encourage them to use are near the top, and then restrict it to only what really makes sense.
Okay. Okay. And when we use this, I mean, this applies to all pages, right?
Yeah, edit view as well as the assign beta.
Okay.
And the really cool thing about this is that when you have the working set stuff completely implemented, it should just make it blazingly fast because it will only be dealing with working set work orders, which are a small fraction of what's in TBL work order.
Yes.
So one really cool thing. Okay. So could we talk about 4318 for a second?
4318, yes, definitely.
So basically, Chuck and I wanted to get together this afternoon and to define these gesture operations for all the different assets. And aren't we able to do that by using underscore gesture in the in the name of the group operation?
At this point, you can use only that for operations. So if you want to have other types of gestures with, I mean, other than no exception, no exception, access, and unassign, I just have to make a workaround on the client.
Okay, I got you. So as long as we don't change the names, we're okay. It's going to be unassigned, no access or exception. Okay, I think that's fine. That'll work great.
I mean, if you want, I mean, it's not that complicated to do a more generic version, but I just didn't got the time to jump in. And I know that this working set is more important, but the things which are listed here are quite should be quite useful. And I don't know. I mean, if you want to have a gesture, which is completely different, I can jump in and I can make that possible, but it will require a little bit of time. I mean, it's not a day, but 1 or 2 hours.
Okay. No, I think we're good. I understand. Okay. That sounds great. Anything else you wanted to talk about?
No, that's it.
Okay. Chabi. Chabi's muted. Chabi.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. You want to bring us up to date on what you've been up to?
Yeah. I was looking into performance tuning, and the greatest discovery was that Link is eating up a lot of a significant amount of time compiling these queries. It was like there were 3 Link queries that was basically running with every work order memory as edited view page, and I guess it's running for the filtered grid or the assigned beta page also. And these 3 took at least 300 milliseconds, but in worst cases I saw this taking up 600 milliseconds.
And this 300 milliseconds waste is actually happened on the on the link queue level, so it's not on the database.
No, yes, right. It's not a query. It's not in SQL. Just let me share my screen and I can show you. Share screen. Share, yes. Close.
And what solution you choose to solve this? I know we have two options here. One is to compile, right? One is to pre-compile these, and the other to use rewrite that too.
Yes, I choose to. I cannot share my screen, so I cannot show you. But you would have to believe me. I choose.
I will, Shelby. I will.
Pre-compile the app, the query, because that was faster to rewrite, because I just had to take that query and wrap it in another function call that says precompile query.compile, and it works, and it's a great success. And I'm looking
actually on the actually on the add edit work order, I think we have a bunch of those link queue queries, and a couple of them precompiled, but I'm not sure that they are using. I mean, we definitely need some room for improvement there. So maybe you should put add edit work order or add edit ticket page on your list.
Okay, I will. Currently, I'm working on the memorized edit view, but then I will check the assignment page and add edit work order pages.
Okay.
And I'm looking at the code level, so if we can improve something there, and also I will check the indexes, so on the SQL level, if we can improve there something. I hope that we will come down at worst like 2 seconds.
Yeah, that would be great. It's I don't know, I'm sitting here playing with it now. It's not awful, but it's not peppy either.
And one other thing that I found, that this logging of the mini profiler takes like 500 milliseconds.
No.
Unfortunately. But so I guess what we should do there to somehow write in a queue and then do the logging in another thread.
Okay.
You are talking about the things which are stored in that different table, different database?
Yes, yes. I've cleared the database. I mean, I created a new database just to check if that's the problem, that the database is too big. But I didn't get much of improvement with a new database, so I guess just this is the best we can do. And one other thing that I was working on, this work order number contains improvement, so I've changed that to start suite or end suite. And
actually, you changed that to start suite and start suite, right?
Start suite or end suite. I mean.
Okay, I'm sharing my screen. You see it?
Yeah. Yes.
So if I enter in something into work order number, it automatically starts with and ends with.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't need to select anything. It just knows.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So if I hit, like, let's see, 72488. Somebody's phone? Why did it not work?
Because it doesn't completely end with that. That's the you can't put in a partial, I guess.
Right.
You should be able.
Okay.
I thought it did end with that, though.
It does it with like. Chubby?
No, I just rewrote that, so it does not do a like.
Okay, I missed that.
It does a starts with or an ends with.
Okay.
Because we have an index on that.
Oh, right, because you did that because
That speeds up, because with the like you would have a wildcard on the first character will be a wildcard, and you couldn't have an index on that, so it would do a table scan. But right now we have the inverse of the work order number. We are storing that, and we have a filter on the inverse, so that's much faster.
Okay, very good. We seem to have lost the little spinner, the net neutrality protest spinner, or whatever it is.
I think it's because you have a bunch of
Scroll to the
columns,
middle.
and it's centered.
Oh, it's over here somewhere, huh?
Yeah, in up.
And scroll in the middle and then the middle.
Middle, huh? Well, then I can't refresh. Let's see. Refresh. There it is. Okay.
There you go.
How difficult is it to put
in view?
Well, I guess really where you'd want to see it is up here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can we put it up here? Or put something up here that indicates it's thinking?
We can, I think.
I mean, I guess it blanks out, right? Which I guess is indicating the same thing, except if we had a little animation, it might be.
Refresh, some like refreshing. It's say refreshing, and then like a little spinning something.
Yeah, some kind of animation. I don't know.
What we have on the assignment engine, if you collapse the filters,
a little elf.
Actually, you don't have to.
Oh, it's got that little spinner, right?
Yes.
A little elf opening and closing a file drawer or something.
Yeah, just remove that refresh text and display that animation, and when that's done, just replace back to refresh.
Okay.
Text.
Okay. Cool. So, have you also been looking at indexes, I guess, Chubby?
I created one, but not that aggressively. I haven't looked.
Okay.
That aggressively.
We're probably going to need to pick that up, because the other thing I'm doing is I've got Cablevision looking at what it would at whether we can go to SQL Server Enterprise on their servers where we can use partitioning, and I guess partitioning is somewhat similar to indexes, right? You've got to choose a column you're going to partition with.
Mm-hmm.
So, assuming that they say, yeah, we can do that, then I think what we need to do is create a new database or restore with Cablevision data, and then convert that to partitioning and check and see, make sure that we can actually get increased performance using it. The problem is once you convert a database to partitioning, you can't go back. So.
I see, but that's on a table level, right? Partitioning is on a table level. Not
yeah, partitioning's on a table level. So I guess it's similar to indexes, right? Because indexes are table level too, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
So you can do something like you can partition by, log create date or something, or due date or something. But of course, for that to be an advantage, you have to be using that in your where clause.
I have a question about this. If we want to set up log shipping from a partitioned database to an unpartitioned one,
I don't think you can do it.
So that means we won't have direct access to Cablevision's data.
I don't see why you cannot.
No, we would, because we can enable partition. We're running enterprise too, so we could enable partitioning on our side. The reason we haven't done that is because if they don't go to enterprise, then we don't have any way of restoring on their system.
All right, I see.
Well, actually, partitioning means that you write the data on a different disk or on a different file group, right? And log shipping is about shipping the log files, which the log says something was updated, something was inserted. I mean, those are the operations.
Well, I don't think you can do log shipping between a database that doesn't have it, because you can't restore a database that has partitioning to a database that does not. So I would imagine you've got similar issues with log shipping. I could be wrong, but it would seem like log shipping would be of limited benefit if you can't also do a restore.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else?
Yes, well, I have a question. You've mentioned this create the CLR function for the work log history set string.
Yeah, I've already done it.
Okay, good.
We're done. It's off your list. Actually got help from Colleen. I don't know if any of you guys have ever talked to Colleen, but anyway. Okay, I had a couple questions for you. What table do we use to store work order history?
PBL ticket history. I guess.
Who would have thought?
That's not it. Work log. Work log is a custom field. PBL ticket history is about the ticket history, like something changed to this and that.
Yes. I was asking about that. I'm changing subjects.
Okay. Ticket history, that when you insert or you make some modifications from TT-Mobile, from the main web, from the unattended imports, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's TBL ticket history. Let me check, but.
Yeah, that's it. But Cliff said work log history.
Oh, did I say work log? I'm sorry, I misspoke. History. What the heck? What did I just do? Execute. Oh. I have some weird thing turned on where it's saving results to files.
It's on the bottom where it says execute, to the right of that.
No. Fourth. No. It's next to the right a little bit more.
More.
You have selected that floppy disk or something like that.
No.
Not that.
More.
Query options?
More. No, close. 4 more icons. 1 more.
Results to text, results to grid. Okay, I want results to grid. All right, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay, so ticket ID, tech ID, text. Ticket was changed, order.
Descending. Or
Right.
just by ID descending, I guess that's better.
Wow, what did I do? Well, anyway, why will this query not cancel? What I was thinking was that this would make a really cool animation because it kind of shows the activity. So on a like the home page of the admin, if you could, particularly if it updated automatically using sockets or something, you could see basically what was actually happening, sort of real time. It's eye candy for marketing.
Oh, okay. So the ticket history updated. I was thinking about the little spinner at the bottom that says query. Okay.
So select by ID, I guess. That's fast.
Wow. I guess that date sort takes a while, huh? I wouldn't have thought it would have, but
just order by ID.
Okay.
Do we have a cleanup task in place for this?
No.
We should have one. How long are we going to keep the ticket history?
You really need to keep it forever.
Well, that's a long time. Because how many entries do we have approximately for each ticket?
Well, let's see how many we have. Whoops.
$11.
Just from the top of your head.
42, right? 42 is
27.
the answer.
19.
No, I know why 11, because it's your birthday.
Who wins? The closest without going over? Or
yeah, exactly.
We have
42
million so far.
Yeah, but you got to divide that.
That's a lot.
Yes, Chuck. Yeah, that's a lot, and I'm seeing problems screaming right now.
I think we should kill Cablevision by the ticket history entries.
Can you change that order by lock create date to
ID?
Yes.
Well, if we have that table segmentation thing in place, then I think this won't be a problem. I mean, the built-in segmentation.
That's a lot faster. I'm surprised it's that much faster.
Because it has an index by ID.
Oh.
The other was doing a table scan.
But I think on the add edit ticket page we are ordering by lock create date. So maybe at some point we want to either change that or.
But we are filtering on ticket ID, which I guess.
Yeah. Okay. I see.
An index on that.
Okay. Right. Sorry.
Anyway, what I don't know how difficult this would be to do, so if it's too difficult, we should probably just jettison it. But in a couple weeks, Chuck and I are going to be up in Cablevision, and one thing that would be cool is to give him some visual indication of what's going on. And I was thinking that, you know, if you had some page that was basically being updated, history entry was made, that would create the
something that's
the picture that a lot of activity is going on, because these things are being updated continually. And so even if it were just a list that got appended to or something.
Even if we can do polling, maybe not sockets, or we just have to. I think I'm not trying to avoid using socket, but I think we have to jump the socket problem once, and then we're gonna love it. Because we're always doing like AJAX requests from like periodically. That's what we do each time. That it's like a pseudo real-time thing.
Harrison's done sockets.
Yeah.
Actually, I had a project. I think.
Yeah,
1 or 2
you
years
did some
ago.
research. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I had a working prototype which actually rewrited the heartbeat. We have this page on Heartbeat where you can see the heartbeat task in real time. So what I was doing is I was rewriting that to not use polling. Instead, we are using WebSockets on that page. That wasn't deployed.
Right. So that was a kind of a proof of concept, and
yes.
and it worked. Okay, so
what are the requirements for sockets to work on server side?
It's Node.js, and I think you did it with Node.js, Redis, right?
Redis, yeah. Yeah,
you push the thing in, you push the data in Redis, and then the Node.js got data from Redis, and then it updated all the clients. The clients basically subscribe to the Node.js server.
Do I need to install Windows 8 for that?
No, not at all. What I've been doing is actually, if a heartbeat task started or ended, I put it there, a little piece of code which actually sent a message to the Redis. And Redis actually, what we do on the Node.js part is we subscribe to one of the events, and whenever that event got raised, we just get that response from Redis. So what I've been doing is we have the .NET code that actually raised an event, and Redis received that, and because our Node.js server. Sorry. Okay, so the main thing about this, we had a working prototype on that. I don't think if you want strictly this, like displaying these ticket history texts in a list in real time, that shouldn't supposed to be that. I mean that depends on the requirements, because WebSockets is kind of limited to, I think, IE9, Firefox, and Chrome, and Safari. So if you know that the guys which will be using IE7 or 8, that will have a problem. I mean,
that's okay. I'm talking about putting this on the admin page anyway, so at least initially.
I think at this point our problem is that if we change a work order using our custom stored procedure, that will so the code which actually inserts entries on this table is actually happening on the database level. And if we want to use WebSockets, we have to make a little bit of, we have to change that, so we have to have a logic which is actually flags a change to Redis, and that's the thing I think it's the most. I mean, that's the thing which actually missing.
How about polling the database?
Polling would probably be fine, at least initially. What's going to be more important is that we make it look slick using some kind of animation, so you actually see the tickets slide in or something.
Mm-hmm.
Can do that. It's not a big deal.
Not a big deal. That's what I wanted to hear. Okay, I'll write up an FB for that.
I think what we should do is we should use polling, and if we have time, and if you want more, if you want faster and more real time, then we can do an improvement and use WebSockets if we have time. But I think the first version should be by polling, and if that is good enough, then it's.
I meant polling on the polling the database, not the server from the client, but the database from the server.
I don't see. I don't understand.
Well, you have to detect the changes somehow, right? When if there is a new entry, and you can get that from something like an event.
Yes,
or you can
that's exactly.
The database and see if there's a new entry there. I mean, like having a worker thread that is continuously running and just doing same thing. That's.
I mean, you could do polling. The thing is I mean, you could poll once a second or something, I guess. You can see that stuff's changing, every second or two. Sometimes you might have a dozen events that happen within a second.
Yeah, just selecting the top, I don't know, 100 or whatever, and order by ID, which is fast.
Right.
And in the client, we can do with sockets. So Zoli, again,
yeah, we can do that as well.
Updating the Node.js or the Redis data.
We can discuss this outside of the meeting, I think, if you have questions on this. I mean, Cliff said that's by poll. I mean, if we can achieve that real-time update by polling, then we should go with that. And because I think that is, we can achieve that a little bit faster. And if they decide that they need more, then we can just add WebSocket support.
Yeah, yeah, okay. I'll write this up. I mean, honestly, it's just it's a parlor trick. It's not really. I'm not sure how useful it is, but you can throw it up there and give somebody the idea. This is what our system's doing right now, and you're seeing all these tickets being manipulated. And since we're manipulating, we're doing a few hundred manipulations in a minute, it looks impressive. It gives you a real feel for how the application's actually being used.
Yeah, it's a great idea, actually.
Okay, so that was one thing I wanted to talk about, and the other thing. Let me show you a typical email that we get. I don't have emails. Okay, so can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Hello? Okay. So basically, you know, this is a guy that runs a knock, and he basically says, "Hey, I've got a ticket I can't find in TechTrack," and he gives me a ticket number. And so I go. It's not terrible for me to do right now, but I can go and query the SQL tables that we use to do the imports and look for this ticket, and I can't find it, and then I'm kind of stuck at that point. And so what I was wondering, Chabi, is if we could write a simple little utility. I mean, we could do a command line initially that basically polls Remedy to get me information on this ticket, so that I can look at things like the assigned to group and the issue code, and hopefully ferret out the reason why this ticket didn't get imported into TechTrack.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Can we do it on a partial ticket ID, or do you need the complete ticket ID?
I guess we can do that. Remedy has a similar syntax to a SQL query.
Okay.
I haven't used likes, but probably we can do.
We can try it?
Yes.
Okay. That would be real useful for debugging. Because we get these emails fairly frequently, you know, what's the deal with this ticket?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a real pain to figure out. But if a lot of it's because we can't log into Remedy, but if we can access the ticket through the API, we can at least see the relevant fields that we want.
Sure. This would work from a server, right?
Yeah, it will have to run it from one of the servers behind their firewall. So SQL prod, I guess.
Okay. Well, what I'm thinking, just a quick solution. We have that linkpad code there, which actually does this in it doesn't equals instead of like.
Right. Okay.
So we almost have that.
We almost have it.
Yes. I could open. I mean, I could try to write the like there and this utility.
Yeah, obviously the like would work better, since they typically never give us the complete number. In fact, just glancing at this one, I'm not sure whether it's a UTT or DSTX. I think it's a DSTX, but I'm not 100% sure. Let's see.
It is. It's a DSTX ticket.
Yeah, the DSTX are in the 7 millions or whatever.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So while I'm saying that we have a linkpad query there, I mean, that's in place, and we can use that instead of the utility, while that is not.
Okay, I'll try that.
We can review that.
Okay, we can do that offline.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Chabi, is that it for you, or?
Yes, that's.
Okay. Isti, how's it going?
Great, thanks.
So let's see. We. I know we.
Yeah, one of the.
Go ahead.
It's so one of the cases is that with the one with the issues, which is 4275. If you press right click and inspect element on that page.
Okay, so has this been deployed? I know we had an issue and we had to roll it back,
yes,
but we fixed it and redeployed it? Okay, I can try it on my iPad right here, actually. I've got it. Is there a way to emulate an iPad in a browser?
Yes.
How do you do that?
It's in Chrome. If you press the right click, there's
if you go to
right click
developer
and
tools.
inspect element.
I'm sorry. What'd you guys say? I missed that.
If you press right click on the page and select inspect element.
Oh, okay. So if I go, I'll go here. I'll go. I guess this is where I want to be, right? SRO, edit view, right click, inspect element.
On the last one.
Okay.
And there's a small icon, phone icon on the left side, on the far left, the mobile.
Oh, right there.
Right.
Click
Yes.
that.
Yes.
Okay.
And you can select there the device, resolution, and more details. But if you refresh the page after you selected the device, it will load with that user agent.
Oh, wow. Apple iPad. iPad 3.4, I guess.
That's good.
I'm not sure what iPad I've got anymore. All right.
And refresh the page.
Oh, wow. Live and learn, huh? Okay, so I come here, SRO. Well, that didn't do what I thought I was going to do. SRO. Edit. Do I need to reset it back?
Yes, just leave that open.
Up. You closed it. Just hit right click, inspect element, and
Have iPad 4. Okay, so cool. I'm there. I can close this. Whoops.
Don't close it. Don't close it.
Sorry.
I know what you're trying to do, but right next to that close sign, you have that window icon right there when you close it. Hit that.
Okay. That better?
Yep.
All right, I have to hit refresh.
Yes.
Okay. How come my cursor isn't cursoring? Oh, okay. Gotcha.
You have a
because it's touchscreen now. Gotcha.
Yes.
All right. So, is it here? My view.
Yes.
All right. Gotcha.
Not sure why the design is cached.
Ooh. Bad choice, huh? Okay. Well, something's still not quite right.
Can you do that full page reload thing? Hit the back button. Okay, and go to the refresh sign and right click instead of left.
Right here, right click.
Yeah. Yes. And hard reload or empty. Choose and oh, that's good.
From the exception log, I see that that is wrong.
What is wrong?
the pet it contains. If you go to the exception log, you will see it tries to load a pet with TT 2008/forms/ something like that. Well, I guess and I think I know why is that, because this TT 2008
it's different. No. For me.
That is the actual path if you load the app on localhost. Did we lose Cliff?
Yeah, I think he's getting back online. He's trying to come back. Back in a minute.
Okay, I'm sorry, guys. You guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, it looks like it needs some work. Misty, anything else you want to go over?
No. I'm almost done with the they are deployed 4165.
4165.
Yeah, but they aren't deployed yet. I think I know what's the issue here with the menus. I will fix this.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Harrison, you want to bring us up to date? What you been up to?
Sure. I've been working on requesting missing fixes from the modems for MobiFleet. I guess I've been, in particular, let me open up my FogBugs case. Yeah, so we have it so that we can turn it off for specific modems. So that we should be able to, I guess, deploy it and have it sort of run for a small subset of test modems, assuming that, you know, it doesn't break anything wider, so that we'd be incurring. And then I've spent a lot of time this week working on an algorithm to put old fixes into trips in such a way that, you know, it makes sense. I have an algorithm that should work sort of under some plausible conditions. I can prove that it works. And been working on implementing it. And I guess the next thing I need to do is just test it, because I think I have most or all of the code written for that. Actually, I think most or all of the code written in general. I guess there's a couple of specific implementation questions I have that I should talk to Zoli about, or Chavi, at some point, if you're available.
Okay.
But other than that, things are going pretty well. I think hopefully next week we may be able to deploy this. You know, at least on a limited basis.
Yeah. But before we do that, yeah, I suggested to you that maybe we should come up together and just talk out how this thing is working, and maybe I can suggest a couple of things because maybe we missed something. I mean, the fact that the problem is you not entirely know how this thing is working in full. So maybe we should come together and discuss that, and how your algorithms are fitting into the whole system. And after that, we should come up with a plan to test this. I mean, test the components separately and test this thing on and come up with a testing scenario. And after the deployment, we can run those test scenarios to make sure that it works.
Okay, why don't we schedule a code walkthrough, you, Harrison, and myself?
Okay, but not on Monday next week because I will be off Monday.
Okay. You want to do it tomorrow, Harrison, or?
I could do it tomorrow.
Would that work for you, Zoli?
Yes.
Okay, let's plan on that. Okay, Chuck, anything you got?
Yeah, there was one thing I wanted to go over. Let me see. Do I need to share my screen so I can find something? Can you guys see my Wi-Fi screen?
Yes.
We do.
Okay. The Wi-Fi group is getting ready to start doing QCs and swaps. So if a Wi-Fi unit gets installed, they want to be able to create a ticket that they can go and QC it, make sure everything thoroughly on the install. They're also going to find faulty Wi-Fi units and create a swap ticket. So the way they're going to do this is using the group operation function. So in this case, I'm going to show you, if we've got a completed ticket, they may say, let's go QC this one and this one and this one, okay? And they'd open up the group operation, and they'd say, I want to assign this thing to, somebody. Boom, pick a tech. And then they would come over here and they would say Wi-Fi QC. That's how they would interpret using this. The problem is that when they do this, it only puts the Wi-Fi QC into pending mode. So it's really a two-step process. First it sets it into pending mode, creates a ticket that's in pending, then they have to come back and find the ticket, and once they find it, then they can use the assign button. So I think we need to think about maybe if we can't force this button to do an assign, we may want to figure out a way to break up these other functions that are not, I guess, I think Chavi called them stock functions, so that they're differentiated and it's clear that maybe this thing can't be used if you're trying to do something like create a ticket over here. Does that make sense? Not really.
It made sense to me, but
okay.
But I don't know. Did it make sense to you, Chavi?
Yes. Well,
I don't have the answer. I just know this is gonna kind of be an issue, and we've got a lot of things that are going on here, and they're not really differentiated from each other. So we probably need to spend a little bit of time thinking about maybe how to partition some of these things off into groups. group functions.
Does Wi-Fi QC create a new? Does Wi-Fi QC create a new work order?
Yes, and so does Wi-Fi swap.
Okay. So Chabi, could we make it so that those pick up the settings over here and set the assign? Or is that we don't have the plumbing to do that?
So you want to trigger the assign action if you hit the Wi-Fi swap?
Well, we want to create a new work order, but when we create the new work order, we want to also set the assign tech. And right now, that's not happening. If you hit Wi-Fi swap, it creates a new work order, but it sets it to pending. But what, from a user perspective, what they'd like to be able to do is have it set the assign tech based on what's in those pull downs.
Oh, I see.
Well, that's just kind of what you would expect to happen, right? If I pull all this stuff down and then I go, create a Wi-Fi QC, you would expect that it's going to assign it to this guy.
Right.
So the first question I think Cliff is asking is valid. Can we do that? If we can't do that, then we need a way of partitioning this stuff off so that it's a little more obvious that isn't going to happen.
Well, I think we should think of some ways to do that if that's something that they expect. And I'm thinking, how can we do that?
It's like you somehow need to pass that information into the. Are we using the work order generator to do this?
Yes, or just run that Wi-Fi QC operation, and then on the new work orders that were created, do the assignment operation. Do the same as what does the assign button do? Right.
Chuck, can you create an FB for this?
Yes, I will.
Okay. Create an FB and assign it to Chabi. And
okay.
Chabi, if you can think about it and let us know what you think needs to happen there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so here would be, this is the group operation right here that's create to do.
The problem is we don't have a way of pulling in the settings for the...
Right. What ideally it would happen is you would look for the settings, and if nothing's set, then you would do this piece right here, right? The work set set the work order status to pending.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. I'll create an FB for this.
Okay. Anything else on your plate, Chuck?
No, that was it.
Okay. Okay, guys, if that's all we got, we'll call it a meeting. Like I said, I'm meeting with Levy next week. Georgia peach salsa for everyone, right?
Hey, are we going to have the meeting next Thursday?
Why don't you have it? Let's see. Well, I don't know. What do you want to do, Levy? If we maybe can we plan to have a short one, maybe?
Yeah, I think you two guys can. I mean, we can start with your things, or if we want to talk to you two guys, then we can discuss with you, and after that you can go off. And if anything Chuck has to say or we has to say, then we can discuss.
All right, Chuck. Why don't we plan to have the meeting? Chuck, why don't you plan to lead it, and we'll play it by ear as to whether Levy and I are on the call.
Okay.
I assume that's okay with Levy since he's muted.
Levy fell asleep.
I assume that's what it means. Muting means, yeah, everything Cliff said.
That's exactly right.
Okay, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Take care.
Sure. Bye.
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 Bye bye. Have a nice flight.
All right. Thanks.